everyone, this is Clossi. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the first game of my Go Congress trip this year, 2022. The Congress this year was at Estes Park, Estes Park's Colorado, which is at an altitude of like 8,000-ish feet. So the altitude was quite a challenge this year for a lot of people. Additionally, this is the first Go Congress we've had since the start of COVID, so there was a lot of challenges for the organizers there as well. For us, my wife and I, we actually drove up, and we were actually planning on driving up ourselves from Tennessee to Colorado, but we found out the Bad Oak House was also driving up, and so we decided to drive to Ohio, a little bit out of our way, and then we all carpooled together to Colorado, and it was a lot more pleasant and cheaper. So we arrived at Colorado, and we got everything set up. Everything started off pretty well, but a little bit of a discussion with the tournament director because our ranks were not what we expected them to be. So I registered as a 5-Dan, and my reason for this was I've been a 4-Dan for about a decade now, and then in my last tournament, in I believe March of this year, we went to the Midwest Open in Ohio, and I was just shy of qualifying for the Open, the top tournament for the strongest players, and that was due to a late registration. So I was put in the main division, where I proceeded to go 7-0 as a 4-Dan. So I was very happy with my result, and I was like, okay, maybe I finally earned the right of 5-Dan. Maybe after so many years, I have earned my 5-Dan finally. And then they wouldn't let me self-promote because it wasn't an AGA rated tournament. So I was a bit bummed and a little bit salty about it. And I talked to the tournament director. I said, hey, like, I have evidence that I am probably 5-Dan. And the argument that I got back was everyone's ranks are different. It wasn't just mine. It was many people hadn't played in 2 years. So everyone's ranks were completely random. There was no telling where everyone was. So rather than self-promoting a bunch of people, he made the judgment call of no one self-promotes, and we're going to see where people end up after this tournament. I'm a little bummed that it was Congress that they decided to do this with, but I understand the logic of we need to develop a new normal and see where everyone's at. They registered me as a 4-Dan because my AGA rank was actually 3.9-Dan, because my last AGA rated tournament, I lost to some 7-Dans, and this was many, many years ago. So I actually had more losses than wins, so I had actually demoted, even though I had a pretty decent performance as a 4-Dan. It's just I'm usually in the open division of the smaller tournaments, so I'm also facing a lot of high dans. So I'm 3.9-Dan, registered as 4-Dan, and I was like, fine, I'll just win. And this leads into my first game that we're going to talk about today. I was a little bit overconfident. A lot of my mental situation kind of set me up. Spoiler alert for failure. Let's go ahead and jump right into the game and tackle this first game. All right, so in this first game, I am actually white, and my opponent is a 4-Dan. So for this event, I've actually been preparing the 3-4 and 3-3 as white to try to mimic my opening that I was sitting as black, which is a simple version of the points lever from Ensong's lecture. And Ensong is from the Youngsing Dojang. He is the instructor for the Youngsing Dojang. I was actually applying the points lever, and then I was having more trouble as white because I didn't really have a good solid plan. And so I was recommended by someone in Twitch chat to actually play the 3-4 and 3-3 to have a similar style / plan as white as I did as black. And so I had worked on this for a few weeks before Congress, and that is why I'm playing that. So I actually go for a kick here. This is a little bit of a passive Joseki. Like, you shouldn't actually do this normally. It's a slight loss for white. But for the type of game that I wanted to play, this went along with the strategy, which was like make 30 points as quickly as possible. But I think as white, I decided to make it like make 20 to 25 points as quick as possible because I also have Komi. And then I could go disrupt Black's plan from there. So that's kind of the approach I was taking from this. So here I went ahead and decided to go in because my opponent's shape looked a little confusing, a little bit optimistic, I guess. So I decided to go do something about it. And their shape was also threatening a large framework, and wasn't sure if there was any other obvious move for me to immediately do, so I just went ahead and jumped in, and my opponent decided to just ignore it, which I believe this is a small mistake. So I was able to settle in a way that also took black space, and I thought so far I'm doing okay. Black did jump here, which is a little bit passive of a defense because you have moves like this, which is a little bit more active. Okay, then I played an extension here. This stops the extension from this position while also expanding my side. I went low because, again, territory opening. So far, I feel like I'm playing decent. It is still an even game, though. And according to AI, like, we've both made mistakes so far. All right, so he high approached, and I defended, and he defended. And I played the slide. The slide was actually getting quite large, but I think it's actually a little bit passive, apparently. I thought it was quite big because it opens up black corner, but I should have apparently been more active. I can go, like, right here. I can go in here, which is a lot more active than what I did. And then I could also, like, approach right here, or maybe attack these 3 stones somehow. These are all ideas that are more active. I think to follow up what I was trying to do, probably this move was the most interesting. But yeah, that's not what I did. I did this, which is apparently a little bit passive, but I think my opponent... Okay, not yet. So yeah, my opponent went for influence, and then went here. And so I'm playing a pretty solid game so far. And you can see I'm just going for that solid territorial style. But I think the AI recommended I actually push up right here and start the fight, because I got territory, I'm solid, and black's not. So start the fight in this position is basically what the AI recommended. I think this is actually a mistake in the game recording. I think I actually connected here, but pretty similar. The idea being that, hey, I'm looking at invasion opportunities later. I think the connection was just a little bit better. I think the idea was this was one of the ones I was considering, so I think I confused it in the game recording. But after watching the Twitch VOD, I was actually connected, I believe. Okay, so I played still simple here, and at this point, probably this is too much. I already got territory, and I've already established a position, so this might be a good time to go disrupt black's position. Maybe just go in. I'm uncertain, or maybe something else. I'm not sure. So I'm actually quite bad at the opening, so I was struggling a bit here, but I thought I was playing pretty solid. I was trying to play a solid, straightforward game. My opponent played here, which was actually very passive for this level. I heard this in the review, and also the AI really doesn't like it. So I was able to go in and be a little bit more active and finally start the attack and defense. So my opponent ignored to play this, and so I went ahead and played defense, which apparently is a mistake. But I thought it was pretty nice to just ignore my opponent and go defend my stone. But I think a local responsive here is also pretty fine. Perhaps. Okay, so my opponent tried to surround me, and this is where I start noticing my opponent is going cosmic, or not quite cosmic, but very, very, very center-oriented. So I start keeping an eye on that here, because that's a lot of center stones, and my opponent just doesn't mind territory all that much. My opponent surrounds, and I believe I make a small mistake here. I think actually I'm supposed to just cut right here. And the reason I didn't was like, oh, this ladder doesn't work. But I have a very easy move right here, and here you start to see hints of I am not seeing the board clearly. I'm not sure why, but I was not able to. I was so the theory that I had was I was so focused on my moves because I had prepared my moves so much I was so focused on my moves and my style that I wasn't looking at my opponent's AGA. I think I was playing quite passive in this game, and I wasn't able to start a fight right here, which I think would have been a lot more interesting. So I just played very solid, and then like this, which my opponent played here, and then I went ahead and played here to get some stones on the outside before defending. Apparently this is a mistake. This is my bad life and death, I suppose. It looked scary, but apparently I'm fine. I should just keep fighting. So I think I could have spent more time here, but again, I was just tunnel visioning on play solid and strong and do your style, etc., etc. And I'm not like checking things like I should be checking. I'm just playing very one-sided ideas. Okay, so I went ahead and fixed over here. This is just a large move to get to, and then my opponent invaded at a very awkward spot. This is normally actually a very bad spot because it can lead to a double Hane, but it is a common AI invasion point now, so you might see this in your games. But I'm not sure how I feel about it. It's still very awkward. I think there is much easier moves, like black can invade like right here or right here and have a much easier time. But I could also do this one instead, and I think that one has a little bit more of a future if you come out. Because if we play it this way, you can see the corner's actually in a lot of trouble. So this one I think is probably a little bit more of what black wanted. So black went in here, and I was like, okay, whatever. Now, the reason I didn't go here, which apparently was fine, was because I thought, hey, black's making quite a bit of shape now. But apparently this was fine because I also have Hane under. So I only read up to here and saw that I had cutting points and black had a tiger's mouth. And I thought, okay, this wasn't good enough. But if I keep going, like I have the threats over here to connect with these stones. I have connection to Suji's with the Hane under, so I'm actually quite okay. So this is probably it's much more fine than I thought it was in the game. So, but I just went for this round. I thought it was okay. My opponent pushed instead of playing the slide. And I'm like, okay, just round. And here, I'm okay with giving up territory because I've spent so much making the territory. My opponent solely focused on the center that I thought, okay, thickness to reduce the center is not that bad for me. And I'm actually up by a few points here. So I was pretty happy with this. But then my opponent decided to cut. And here is where my bad mindset kicks in. Because I was like, oh, my opponent didn't read the life and death. Okay, I'll just take this quick win as a 4-don so I can hurry up and be 5-don. Because they were actually moving people quite quickly. So if you won the first round, you rank up. If you lost the first round, you'd rank down. So here I'm like, okay, I'll just hurry up and get to 5-don and take the quick win. And so I went for the kill. And while the inside is one eye, it's definitely one eye. Going for the kill when you have weakness on the outside is a very bad habit. I should not have done that. Instead, I should just fix my position. So I think I can go with a move as simple as right here. And I have plenty of thickness on the outside to deal with the center, and black's not super comfortable. Black still has to live. So even if I just fix, you can see that, yeah, black lives, but I have massive thickness to deal with the center, and it's pretty straightforward for me to deal with. I'm pretty solid, and should be pretty simple to deal with the center as long as I don't have weaknesses. But I went ahead and went for the kill, because I read that this cut stuff didn't work, but this is not good for me. I do get squeezed, but I'm like, it's okay, I'm killing the group. And then he went here, and I can still kill the group, but the problem is, if I go for the kill, which is, let me remember this life and death. I believe it's here, 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 and black is dead. But I think black can go, I believe I was reading like, yeah, I was reading this and I saw that black had like 3 or 4 liberties, I believe. And then I was looking at this, and then some AGA right here. And I think it was, when I was looking at that, I was looking at, I think some ideas like this. There, and there was a lot of AGA right here to kill me. And I spent like a lot of time right here. I spent several minutes here reading out all this AGA, and I just couldn't find an answer to deal with it. And again, all I have to do is just fix and let them live, and then just reduce the outside, and I'm still doing pretty okay. I definitely lost several points in this, but I thought, okay, if I can make a ko, then maybe I can get 2 moves in a row on the outside. Fixing just feels slow and small. So I decided to go for an aggressive plan to say, hey, like, I'm going to take a lot of value or points, and I'll get 2 moves in a row as soon as you try to live. And so we play this out, and I just went ahead and took this whole corner. I thought this was good value, but I'm kind of losing points left and right now. Not because of the territory, but because of the center. Remember, Black put all of the effort into the center. So what I did was I gave Black more center for points because I was focusing on the points. But if I had stopped and thought about what my opponent wants, I would have realized I don't need to be giving up more center because this is going to be the type of game my opponent wants to play. I need to destroy the center and keep the game close in points because that's the type of game my opponent doesn't want to play. So I should have had a more clear head here and stopped tunnel visioning on my own plan so much. So here I solidify my position, and now Black's up by a little bit, but it's still playable, but I end up making the entire situation worse. So I try to attack here, trying to go for some aggression. I believe I'm supposed to save this group because this is a massive center if this group is dead. So I think I got to save the group. And so I should have played like maybe a Nobi or maybe an Atari and Sabaki a little bit. Something more active in the center. And Black realized that because, again, this is everything Black wants is this center. So Black went for the center, as he has been doing the entire game. And so I'm trying to poke the weaknesses, trying to poke the AGA, and my opponent starts some fighting, and here we get into some fighting, but I do the exact same mistake again where I go for the territory. What I should have done is, hey, I have plenty of territory. Let's stop this center and do something about this center. And now the game's a lot closer. Because this is what Black's plan is the center. I need to disrupt it. I can't just keep going tunnel visioning on my plan and only making points. It's just very bad play. So I played very greedy and very one-sided in my mind. And the game just kind of became very easy for Black. And so here I'm just attacking weaknesses, but I'm not getting into the big problem, which is the center. So I should jump. And yeah, I have some cutting points right here, but it should still be possible for me to play, I think. Definitely losing, though. And then after this, it kind of felt game over. AI says I'm down by like 11, but it only gets worse from here. I try to make a trade sequence here. I'm trying to like do fancy reading and just unnecessary reading. So I'm trying to like do all this so I can fix the bottom, but actually lost points with that exchange because I thought endgame wise I need to fix all of this AGI so I can have these points to keep it within reason. So I was trying to fix all of that in an efficient way. So here I thought I fixed this push while also getting the territory, but I gave up a lot to do it. And the calculation in my head was, it was okay, but the result was actually I lost even more points. And so now we just play an endgame, but at this point it's just too late. I don't think there's anything I can do. So here's where the recording stops. I think we played to the end, if I recall correctly, and I was down by a lot of points. I think like 20-ish points I lost by. It was not fun. I was very bummed because I'm like, why did I rush it? I had a bad mindset, like, oh, let's do a quick win. Let's hurry up and get to 5 dawn. And I just wasn't looking at my opponent. I wasn't thinking about what my opponent can do as a 4 dawn, what my opponent wanted out of these moves, out of these positions. So I was just tunnel visioning so hard on my play that it was just a pretty sloppy game. So this actually pushed me down to 3 dawn, which made me a lot more bummed. The start of the week started out very poorly with me having some losses. So that's it for this first game. I will be coming back with another video starting with game 2, and I'll keep going through my Congress week with you guys.